After killing his opponent, the old man says that they had told him that he could kill in this tournament. So that's what he did. Everyone there was either scared or angry. Jin realizes what he had dodged the time when the old man attacked him. It was the same technique, and if he had not answered him sooner, he would have been dead by now. Sophie's dad and Peter were watching this as well. He gets angry and calls it straight up murder. After just 2 matches, the bet started to get higher. The next fight was between Joan and Kyle, and the fights begin. While they were fighting, Jin was training using his special ability to visualize the fight. He was fighting against the old man in his imagination, and even in his imagination, he couldn't find any opening against him. Anna comes there and told him that the fight between Joan and Kyle had ended, and it was time for his fight. The outcome of the previous match, Joan wins against Kyle fair and square. Anna warns him to be careful in his next fight because his opponent was the heir of the Supreme Black and a disciple of that old geezer. Jin reassures him saying there's no way he would lose. Jin comes face to face with his opponent. His opponent mocks Korean martial arts, saying it's pathetic, to which he responds that he would show him who is the pathetic one there. They come closer to each other and the fight begins. That man attacks Jin at a very high speed, but Jin was able to dodge that and attacks his leg, getting him down on one knee. Then he attacks immediately to his neck, making him fall to the ground. Jin asks him if that was it, but that man smirks and gets up almost immediately. He compliments them on his first hit and now he looked confident. But as soon as they start to fight again, Jin attacks his chin with his knee. But this time Jin was not unscathed as well. That man manages to land a strong hit on Jin, but that doesn't stop Jin from his next attack. He grabs his high, pulls him towards him and manages to land a strong critical hit on that man, and slams him on the ground. And that was the end of that match. Everyone there was amazed by his power, even the old geezer. Anna congratulates him on winning and Jin says it was an easy win. The next fight was between Anna from Korea and Captiva from India. After she was gone, we see that Jin was holding back his pain. The hit he received earlier was deadlier than everyone thought. As soon as the match begins, Captiva attacks her with his axe. She dodges the axe, but it was to distract her from his next attack, but she manages to dodge that as well. Captiva was sharp and fast. He manages to grab her while she was busy avoiding his attack. Now she was in the range of his attack and had nowhere to escape. Captiva attacks her with his other weapon, which she manages to block and also lands a hit on him. But she was not in clear herself. Captiva attacks him immediately after getting hit by her. She barely avoids the attack, but this time she was injured herself. They run towards each other to attack. Captiva attacks her, but she dodges the attack and manages to land a strong kick in his face. Even after receiving a strong hit from Anna, he still doesn't fall to the ground and attacks her instead, making her a little surprised. She blocks his attack with his axe, but while she is distracted by that attack, he manages to land a deadlier kick on her, and she gets thrown away. But now she reveals her weapon in the midair. But Captiva doesn't look fazed by this and attacks her again, now knowing what kind of weapon she was wielding. As he gets closer to her, she uses her weapon to bind one of his hands and cuts one of the hands off. But he was not done yet. He kicks his own hand to attack her. While she was confused by his action, he manages to grab her, slam her against the wall, and punches her with his already cut off hand. As he was going to attack her again, she warns him, saying if he moves she would kill him. We see that she had her weapon around his neck. Captiva calms down and admits his defeat. Everyone was shocked to see when she managed to do that. We see that old geezer who had killed his disciple for losing and was sitting on top of him, saying this is getting better now. In the control room, Miyuki and Ryanshin were talking about the next match and how the betting had started to go higher after just 2 matches. The next match was in 2 days, and the match was between Seth and Jin. And after that, Anna and Jin were going to fight. Ryanshin asks him about the old guy. He was going to fight in the end. They were confident that Anna and the old man would be the final contestants. Jin and Kyle give each other respect after their fight. Jin says to him that he used to spar occasionally against Seth and asks how strong was he. Kyle told him that at first they were on the same level, but that was 2 years ago. Now, he doesn't stand a chance against him. Jin was shocked. Kyle told him that the one he should be worried about was his next opponent, Anna. Kyle says to him if it was her, even 10 of me wouldn't be able to win against her. That shook Jin inside out. Jin takes his leave without saying a word. He looked tense. In the CCTV, Kyle sees the old man coming to the control room. He hears a knock on the door. It was the old man. The old man says to him not to be frightened. Kyle asks him why he was there, to which he replies that he would like him to get rid of the dead body in his room. Kyle was stunned to hear that, and aside from that, he asks him to give him the addresses of the other contestant in an evil voice. Kyle shivers with fear in his presence and asks him why he wants to know that. He wasn't allowed to disclose information about the contestants. The old man gets angry and attacks Kyle. Kyle tries to block him and gets ready to fight, but he wasn't able to block his attack. He grabs his face and slams him against the wall. Kyle wasn't able to defend himself. The old man tells him that it had been a long time since he had the thirst for blood, and now he couldn't stop for 2 more days to kill someone. And he again asks him where the others were. Outside a hospital, Captiva and Hogia were coming out after their treatment. Hogia was complaining about the match when Captiva suddenly stops and turns back. He takes his weapon out and was ready to fight. Hogia was wondering why he was behaving like that when he sees the old man. Captiva warns Hages to be careful of him because this was not the stadium, and there were no rules outside to stop him. The old geezer acknowledges that Captiva was strong because he was able to sense his presence, and says in his evil voice that it was time for bloodshed. Hogia was confused as to why an old man was threatening them, but Captiva warns him from doing anything rash. He was knocked out during the old man's fight, so he didn't know how strong he was, and that he had killed his opponent. Captiva asks him why he was after them, even though they had lost their fight, to which he replies that they were the closest. Captiva knew there was no way to avoid fighting now, and he attacks him first. At the hotel where everyone was staying, Anna was meditating with Jin and Master Oscar was on guard. Seth comes there and told Oscar that he was there to meet his mom. Oscar says that he was on guard and they stare at each other, but Anna asks him to let him come in. He was here to ask her if that old man, Master Wang, was the one who killed his father. Anna was baffled to hear that. She about to say that Seth wasn't strong enough, but he cuts her off and says that was all he wanted to know, and now he knows his father's killer. He was getting up to leave when Anna says to him that he wouldn't be able to fight him because he wouldn't be able to win Jin. Seth stares at Jin in anger and leaves. Outside the hotel, Bob and June were talking about the fights, about how strong the opponents were when they see Master Wang there. They were afraid of him but still tried to stop him from entering. The old man was now sure that they were there. In an alley, we see a trail of blood, leading to Hogia and Captiva's dead bodies. June told Bob to go alert the others while he holds him off, but Bob disagrees and orders him to go instead. Wang says they all can have fun together and attacks them. They immediately take out their weapon and attack him as well, but he easily manages to dodge their attack and strike back. He attacks them again. Bob manages to avoid any critical hit, but he was injured. June tries to help Bob, but Wang grabs them by the neck and slams them onto the ground. They were not able to move their body at all while he was slowly stabbing his fingers into their neck. But someone attacks Wang, which he easily avoids. It was Akira. Wang was excited to see a girl who knows martial arts, and says it's been a while since he had tasted a woman's blood. He runs towards her to attack her while she was standing there scared, not being able to move her body. June screams at her to run away. Akira dodges a few of his attacks and was pushed back, as she was in no position to escape and Wang was about to kill her. Seth comes from her behind and jumps into the battle and attacks him head-on. Wang was surprised to someone attacking him head-on. Wang avoids his attack but didn't expect him to launch his next attack this quickly, but he avoids that also. Seth threatens to kill him. Now Wang was also interested in him seeing his brute force. Seth attacks him again, but this time Wang dodges his attack and strikes back. Seth receives the blow head-on, but he was nowhere near done yet, and threatens him again that he was gonna kill him. And now Wang was also excited. Seth strikes back and Wang was avoiding all his attacks. Wang grabs his hand and punches him directly in the face, but he didn't fall to the ground and glared at Wang. Seth grabs him by the collar and laughs at him. Wang remembers this wild fighting style. He sees the resemblance between him and his father. Seth headbutts him, making him unbalanced. Wang was now furious and wasn't planning to play around anymore and kill him. Seth's whole body shivers just with his bloodlust. Wand attacks him so incredibly fast that he couldn't even see his attack, let alone defend against it. But as he was about to kill Seth, someone attacked Wang, making him step back. Seth was surprised to see who it was. It was Oscar, who was with Anna. Anna steps forward to fight Wang when Seth stops him, saying he was the one who was going to kill him. Anna replies in anger that he just got killed by him. Seth was speechless. Wang was angry at her for interfering. He asks if Seth was the son of that guy. They looked alike. He further says that he took his heart with his hand, and he did so while he was alive. Seth and Anna were filled with rage now, and as they were about to attack Wang, someone else attacks him. It was Jin. Wang blocks the attack, but Jin manages to land a hit on him with his next attack. Everyone was shocked to see Jin attack him head-on. Wang was furious at him for attacking him and says how dare a child like him attack him. Jin introduces himself as the heir of the old martial arts and says that he would die there today. Two cops on the patrol find the two dead bodies of Hogia and Captiva. They immediately report it to the seniors and ask for backup. They follow the blood trail that led the cops to them. They order everyone to freeze at gunpoint. Anna says that was the end for today, but Wang has now become a bloodthirsty monster, and even the police can't stop him from killing them. He runs towards the cops to attack them, and before they could shoot, he throws a kunai at one of them and he instantly dies. The other cops screamed in fear, but he was silenced by Wang as well. He was now out of control. After killing them, he says that they should start again. Everyone was in a position to fight that mad demon. Seth comes out in front and orders them not to interfere because he was his to kill. Wang says that he doesn't mind if they attack him all at once. As he was about to attack Seth, he hears police sirens. He stops and told them to wait there for him, and that he would come back again. As he was retreating, Seth attacks him in anger, but he avoids his attack and disappears into the wilderness. All Seth could do was watch. His whole body was trembling with anger. The next day, the news of that old man murdering cops and two civilians was everywhere. Cops were looking for him everywhere. Due to all this, the matches also couldn't continue. Seth goes to see Joan. When he arrives there, he finds out that the crazy old man had killed Kyle also. Seth was in anger and asked Joan where he could find that old geezer. At the hotel, Akira comes to visit Anna and reports the situation to her. She told her that she dropped Seth at the stadium. Jin suggests to Anna that they should also go to the stadium, in case that man comes there. Seth wouldn't be able to fight him on his own. Anna asks Jin if he could defeat him, to which he replies that as her successor, he has never learned to lose. Anna asks him for a favor to protect Seth from that man, while she was going to go look for that man and deal with him on her own. Jin objects to this and asks her to let him come with her, but she says that she had to do that on her own. Seth asks Joan to look for that old man no matter how. Joan asks him what he was going to do when he found him and told him that the Japanese police were everywhere. Miyake and Ryunshin suggest why not they wait for the old man and continue the match. They told him that if they were to cancel the match now, they would lose a lot of money. Seth looks at them with scary eyes, and they get scared. They told him if they continue with the game, he would definitely come back there. Seth calms down and thinks this through. When Anna goes outside to look for him, she sees cops everywhere. She goes inside the forest where he had gone. She follows his trail, but he shows himself to her. He asked her if she had come alone, and why she come there when he had said that he would come back. This time Anna uses her weapon from the start and says that she was going to end things there. The fight begins and they approach each other to fight. At the hotel, Jin asks Akira if he should have followed her. Akira suggests he trust her. The fight between them was fierce. She attacks him with her sword, which he dodges easily. He was extremely glad about her fighting style because this is what he wanted, a tough opponent, and that makes her even angrier. He was continuously dodges her all attacks. She bends her sword in the midair, which he barely dodges, and launches his attack. She avoids getting hit at any vital spots but was injured by that attack. She tries to grab his hands with her sword, but he avoids that with his insane reflexes. He says to her that finding an opponent like her was the best thing that ever happened to him. She calls him a killer who doesn't know martial arts and only knows how to kill. And now Wang decided to fight her with his full might, and the fight begins again. Akira and Jin arrive at the stadium. She asks Jin where Seth was. She was shocked to see him in the stadium and says how could he think of continuing the match in a situation like this. Jin was also leaving for the stadium. Akira was worried and asks Jin if it really was the right choice. Jin assures her saying she doesn't have to worry about anything. He would take care of everything. He enters the arena and says to Seth that he was very stubborn and never changes. Seth told him that he had no grudge against him. He was there just because he had to be. Jin tells him that his master had asked him to look after him. Seth was confused and asks him where his mom was, to which he responds that she was looking for the crazy old man. Seth was shocked and angry and was going to go after her, but Jin stops him and says that he would be only in the way with his strength right now. Seth gets angry and was about to attack him, but Jin was one step ahead of him and strikes him first. Seth barely dodges the attack. Jin says that he had promised her to protect him, even if that means taking him down. Now Seth was pissed and told him to come at him, and the fight we all have been eagerly waiting for begins. Sophie's dad also comes to Japan. He meets with the Japanese police department's officer. He shows him the fight happening between Jin and Seth. They had located the stadium where the match was going on and surrounded that stadium, waiting for that old man to show up. The fight between them was unreal. Both of them were dodging each other's attacks, not giving any opening to one another. Seth threatens him that if something happened to his mother, he would kill him. Jin replies that he trusts her because she was strong and nothing would happen to her. Seth gets annoyed and attacks him again, and this time Seth got even faster than before. His attacks were more precise now, and he was able to show unbelievable reflexes. Seth attacks Jin, which he wasn't able to dodge this time, so he blocks with his hands and was pushed back as a result. Seth taunts him, saying he was not as good as he said he was. On the other side, Anna and Wang both were out of breath. Wang acknowledges that she was strong and that he was enjoying every minute of it. She gets angry and attacks him again. While they were fighting, some cops also come there looking for that old man. They followed their trail and were able to locate him. The dog barks at them and they notice the cops. Wang gets annoyed seeing more cops and attacks the dog who was barking and kills him. The cops were in fear, seeing his monstrosity. He was angry at them for interfering every time and was going to kill them all. The officer permits them to use guns, and they fire at him. He uses the dog as a shield and throws the dog to distract them. And when he gets closer to them, he starts slicing their head off. Anna tries to stop that crazy man, but he dodges her attack. While they were fighting, a cop was still not dead and was terrified. In fear, he just shoots at them blindly, and the bullet hits Anna instead of the geezer. Wang gets angry and kills that cop for ruining his fun. He was not interested in fighting her anymore. Even though she was in no position to fight, she still demands to fight. He says that he was not going to fight her for now, but he would give her a reason to make her kill him even more. He threatens that he would kill her son and her successor so that she had enough motivation to fight him. The officers arrive at the stadium where the fight was still going on. He asks the Japanese officer if he was sure that the killer would come there. He replies that he had got a tip from headquarters. It was Oscar who gave them this information. The cops were everywhere, disguised as civilians, ready to capture the old man the moment he shows up. In an alley where a cop who was disguised, a figure appears behind him and attacks him. It was Wang who killed him, not giving him any chance to alert the others. Inside the stadium, the match between them was still going on. Jin just wanted to stall, so he was just avoiding his attacks. Seth gets annoyed and yells at him not to avoid his attacks and fight back. Suddenly, all the lights at the stadium turned off. Seth was yelling at them for turning the lights off, and then he sees something and was stunned. It was that crazy demon himself. He lands between them and asks them if they were looking for him. Seth was full of rage and Jin was scared to death thinking he killed Anna. Seth asks him what he did with his mother, to which he replies, "What do you think?" Seth gets furious on another level and attacks him like a wild animal. Jin wants him to watch out for his attack, but it was already too late. His hands manage to reach his neck, but he somehow manages to avoid death. Wang was shocked to see how he managed to avoid that. While he was busy avoiding Seth's attack, Jin attacks him from behind, but he manages to dodge both of their attacks. Both Seth and Jin were furious and asks each other to let them be the ones who kills that crazy demon. And now Wang was also excited to fight them as well. Outside the stadium, the Japanese officer senses that something was off. He gets a call and was told that the team that had gone into the wild to search for him are all dead, and there was also a woman who was shot. Sophie's dad recommended that they should go inside the stadium. There was a high chance that he went into the stadium without them noticing. The Japanese officer orders all his men to move inside the stadium, and the whole army was on the move to the stadium. Jin goes ahead of Seth and attacks him alone. Wang easily dodges his attacks, and as they were fighting, Seth comes from behind and punches Jin, getting him out of his way. He wants him not to interfere and threatens to kill him also after he was done with the old geezer. While he was distracted, Wang attacks him with a strong move, but he was shocked when Seth managed to avoid getting hit in any vital spots. Wang acknowledges that he was talented and told him not to disappoint him. As they were about to fight, Jin attacks both of them. He told them that he was gonna follow his master's orders and that he was the one who was going to kill him. Jin gets angry and threatens to kill them both, and each three of them jump into the battle, fighting against one another. Jin attacks Wang, which he blocks. Seth attacks Jin and Wang at the same time, but they both manage to dodge his attack. While Wang was distracted by Seth, Jin attacks him and makes his defense down. Seth takes the opening and attacks him again and manages to land his very first attack on him. Wang felt disrespected now and was furious at them now. Jin proposes to fight together against Wang, but Seth didn't listen to him and attacked him on his own. Wang dodges his attack and punches him. Seth barely avoids his next move, and while he was distracted by Seth, Jin attacks from above. Won blocks the attacks but gets hit by Seth's attack. Jin also attacks him from above, making him fall to the ground. But this was not over yet. Wang gets up again, and instead of being in pain, he was enjoying this fight and attacks them. Cops were now inside the stadium. When they enter the control room, they see that the killer had killed everyone in there, including Joan, Miyake, and Ryanshin. At the arena, Wang attacks Seth, but as Seth tries to attack him, he avoids his attack. He wasn't aiming for Seth, he was aiming for Jin. Jin wasn't ready for this surprise attack and gets stabbed by him. His whole hand was inside his stomach. In anger, Seth attacks Wang, and even though he landed his attack directly, Wang was still smiling after receiving the punch and compliments him, saying he was more talented than his mother and father. He takes his hand out of Jin and backs down. Jin was in no shape to fight and falls to his knees. Seth scolds him for interfering and asks him to stay put now. Seth asks Wang again where his mother was. He doesn't answer him and says if he was that curious, he should hurry and kill him and go see his mother, and that makes Seth even angrier and he attacks him. On the other hand, cops had found Anna and keeping an eye on her. Mater Oscar comes there and told the cops that he would take it from there, and they let him deal with her. He suggests that they should go to the hospital first, but Anna denies it and asks him to take her to the stadium first. Oscar agrees to that. At the stadium, the match between Wang and Seth was becoming more brutal. Seth alone was going toe-to-toe against Master Wang, but Wang was still overpowering him. As Wang going to launch his next attack, Jin grabs his legs, not letting him move freely. Seth takes the chance and attacks him, making him fall to the ground. Seth starts punching him brutally and continuously, not giving him any chance to fight back. Seth was like a monster at this point. At this rate, he was going to kill him. Jin stops him, saying that he was already dead. Wang's whole body was distorted and all bones in his body were broken, and he got a death that he very much deserved.